First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Recha Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Ecclesiastes, the first chapter. Now I'm going to read a little bit of background information here concerning the book of Ecclesiastes. And so it reads, the key word in Ecclesiastes is vanity, the futile emptiness of trying to be happy apart from God. Solomon referred to himself as the preacher, the wisest and richest king in Israel's history, looked at life under the sun. From a human perspective, he declared it was all vanity, power, popularity, prestige, pleasure. None of these can fill the God-shaped void in a person's life. Only God himself can fill that emptiness. However, once seen from God's perspective, life takes on great meaning and purpose, which caused Solomon to exclaim, "Eat, drink, rejoice, do good, live joyfully, fear God, keep his commandments." Skepticism and despair melt away when one sees life as a daily gift from God to be used for God. Concerning the title, it says here the Hebrew title Koheleth is a rare term found only in Ecclesiastes 1 and 1 to 2, 12, and a few other chapters here. It comes from the word kohal, to convoke an assembly, to assemble. Thus it means one who addresses an assembly or a preacher. The Septuagint uses the Greek word Ecclesiastes as its title for this book, derived from the word ecclesia, meaning assembly, congregation, or church. It simply means preacher. The Latin Ecclesiastes means speaker before an assembly. The author calls himself the son of David, king in Jerusalem. The proverbs in this book are like those in the book of Proverbs. According to Ecclesiastes 12 and 9, the preacher collected and arranged many proverbs, perhaps referring to the Solomonic collections in Proverbs. The book of Ecclesiastes was written around 735 BC. Cool. So just a bit of information to get us started concerning the book of Ecclesiastes. And now let's actually get into it. So this is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. And this is referring to Solomon. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. Now let's look into this word vanity here. So here in the Hebrew, we have the word chabal, which is vapor, breath, vanity. And let's look it up here as well, because you'll see this word come up a lot. So it's good to have a good understanding of what it means. So vanity here, we have excessive pride in or admiration of one's own appearance or achievements. And then you have the quality of being worthless or futile. Let's look at that word futile. Incapable of producing any useful result or pointless. Okay? So when you deal with vanity, it's something that the result of it is pointless. Like there's no real merit or sustaining value that you get from it. Okay. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh. Now, under the sun is referring to on the earth. Nobody on earth looks down and to see the sun. You have to look up at it, right? So we are under the sun because the sun is placed in our firmament. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. So it's the same earth, the same planet. You have different generations, they die, new ones come on the earth, and the cycle continues. But guess what? We're standing on the same earth that Adam stood on, that Noah stood on, right? That Abraham stood on. It's the same planet. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to his place where he arose. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuits. So here he's just giving basic, like an intro, right? The way, the principles of life. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. So it's like a cycle, right? You see the rivers are constantly flowing into a larger body of water, but it never overflows. On to the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. That's the whole cycle of it. Because there's some large body of water that's feeding into these rivers, which is feeding back into some other large body of water. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. So, as it says, all things are full of labor. Let's go into that word labor, or full of labor. Yeah, let's say a guy, wearisome, right? Tired, hence tiresome, full of labor. Man cannot utter it. So it's so much. Let's look at the NLT. It says everything is wearisome beyond description. That's the man cannot utter it. No matter how much we see, we are never satisfied. No matter how much we hear, we are not content. And I mean, you don't ever get to a point where your eyes are like, hold on 1 second, that's too much. I gotta, I've seen too much. You gotta erase some of the visuals that I've seen so I can see some more. Right? And likewise, your ears will never stop working at some point to say, oh, you've reached your daily limit of hearing. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. The thing that has been is the past, and it is that which shall be. That is, history repeats itself. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So all the things that we experience, it may be done in a different, slightly different fashion, but it's nothing new. Okay? You have trouble with women. People had trouble with women in the past. All right? You eat. People ate in the past. You just do it differently. You just eat different things. Okay? The way people live, when the higher you go up, it's really not that different. The intentions in which people live. Now, you get on a more detailed level, then it starts to diverge a bit more, right? The level of wickedness, grows, and the way you get from one place to another, you may use a bike or a car or a train or a plane today. Back then, they may have used a carriage or a mule or horse, but, people still had to travel from one place to another. So there's nothing really new or significant that hasn't happened of old, is what Solomon is saying. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us. And interestingly enough, a lot of the things that are like new inventions are really adding on to things that were already there. So the foundation of life has been laid, and it hasn't changed. We just continue to build upon it. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, with those that shall come after. So we don't remember the things of the past. That includes our past lives. The scriptures deal with reincarnation, but a part of the order of life, which is the cycle, life wouldn't be a cycle if a cycle is continuous. So you live, you die, you come back in a new body, you live again, and you die. But you don't remember your past life. That's a part of the former things. That's why we preserve it through writings. Neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. So the things that happen now and the things that will happen in our near future won't be remembered by those that will come after us, just like we don't remember the things that came before us, except they're recorded. I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under the heaven or under heaven. So Solomon decided to, you could say, like experiment and to, he says, to search out using wisdom all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath God given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith. NLT, I devoted myself to search for understanding and to explore by wisdom everything being done under heaven. I soon discovered that God has dealt a tragic existence to the human life. Why? Because he's going to say, all is vanity. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun. And behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. And that's why he says that God has dealt, this is a sore travail that the Lord has given to the sons of man, meaning humans, that to live, because everything that you do, with the exception of having the Lord, is vanity. It's vain. And let's look into that vexation of spirit. Let's first read this in the so you see in the NKJV, it says grasping for the wind. NLT, like chasing the wind. When you go into these words, typically when you see the word vexation of spirit, you're thinking more, it vexes your spirit. But it's not everything that's done on the earth that vexes your spirit. There are pleasurable things that actually please your spirit, right? So when you go into the word vexation, and also spirit. So the word for vexation, what's that? Iwath, longing or striving, right? Grasping after. And the word racha, here they have rawach, but it's really rawcha, is the same word used for your spirit, but it's also the same word for breath or wind or vain, empty thing or air. So when he says vexation of spirit, he means it's pointless. It's like grasping or chasing after the air. You're never going to catch the air. So Solomon then continues over the next about 11 or so chapters, explaining why it is that he has concluded that all is vanity, it's pointless, and it's a vexation of spirit. It's like chasing after the wind. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. Wanting is like lacking. So everything, you have things that are set, because one thing that is crooked, if it's made that way by the Most High, you can't change it. And this is like going into the principles or the certain things that the Lord has set, unchangeable, ways of life that you just have to deal with. I communed with mine own heart, saying, Lo, I am come to great estate, right? Solomon basically thought within himself. He reasoned how, he's come to a great estate. He's rich. He has wisdom. He's in this high position. He's a king, right? And have gotten more wisdom than all they that have been before me in Jerusalem. Yea, my heart had great experience of wisdom and knowledge. And I gave my heart to know wisdom. Read the book of Wisdom of Solomon. He goes into that right around the 7th and 8th chapters, his desire for wisdom. And to know, so he says here, and I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. So what Solomon did was in his pursuit of experiencing all things done under the sun, he dove into ways of wisdom and also ways of madness and folly to see, what he would conclude by having experienced all things on the right and the left. I perceived that this also is vexation of spirit. This is also pointless. And what he's describing here are just more of the carnal aspects of life, how people live, right, that do things, on one way, how people live that have different professions. He goes into all this, but when we get to the 12th chapter, that's why the chapter getting to the end is he says what he said. This is the conclusion of the matter. So at the end of his pursuit, this is what he found. Fear the Lord and keep his commandments. That's literally the end of it, because anything else is pointless and is like a vexation of spirit. For in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Why? Because the more you know and the more you understand, the more your eyes are open, the more you see the world for what it is. Okay? One example I'll give you is, as you are a child and you start to grow, the older you get, the more stress you get. And the older you get, you can't be as carefree as you were when you were a child. Why? Because of the saying, ignorance is bliss. It's bliss because you don't know, you don't know a lot of things, but a lot of those things also include stress, responsibilities, all the things that come with growing and aging and knowing. You now know, as you become an adult, you're required to do certain things because it is expected of you, because you now know, right? You know more. So more is required of you. So looking at that and likening it onto having more wisdom, it comes with grief. For example, I'll use the situation we're in now. When you were back in the world living, whatever kind of lifestyle you were living before you heard about the truth or started to learn about the scriptures, life was the way it was. But now that you know more about the truth, it is more grievous, though it is sweet because you know the truth. It's grievous because you know the truth. So you know how things should be. You can see how messed up things are, right? You can, like, if you're, imagine this, right? If your eyesight was always bad and you just got used to that, okay, that's one thing. But imagine somebody lending you glasses for a day and you get to see how clear things are. And you don't need to squint all the time. And you're like, oh, wow, this is what this actually looks like. If they take those glasses away, your bad eyesight is now a bigger problem for you because you've experienced what it's like to see things clearly. So now you see just how vexing or bad your eyesight actually is. Likewise, when you're in the world, it's one thing. When you're in the world and now you have knowledge and you know what the world actually looks like, it's more vexing, it's more grievous. Anyway, that brings us to the end of the book of Ecclesiastes, the first chapter. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.